Other bits and pieces, obviously, we've got to talk about SME futures debut for XRP. XRP is at a very, 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 very interesting point, and we'll talk about. We're going to talk today about potential predictions of where we could go. We've touched on it before in previous live streams. People do say, where do we think we're going to go? And I kind of pitch in. So I thought today, with obviously all the news that's happening and this, are we going to start seeing the excitement come back because of XRP, weirdly, or the likes of maybe Bitcoin, for example, and other assets? But this is relatively big in terms of the SME markets because that's obviously kind of the one step behind the ETF happening, right? So if you're on futures SME and stuff like that, and they're tracking the price for a period of time, it's always good for an ETF after that to happen. So it already says here in this article, this has led to anticipating that ETF offers and offers investors direct exposure to XRP could be soon approved. So rumors, maybe, we'll see. But other than that, that's all we've got to go on. We discussed about altcoins catching bids. And we've seen it recently. We've seen XLM, we've seen Hydra Hashgraph, we've seen XRP catch random bids because the chips are down, BTC pairs are on their ass. And then once they go from, say, 500, no, even, well, 20 million, 300, 400, 5, into the millions, and then all of a sudden it's like 2, 3, 4, 9 billion randomly, it's going to get that supply and demand. With Ethereum, it's a bit more interesting. Now, Ethereum has decent amount of volume. But realistically, you've got to look at the facts of, well, where can it go from here? When we look at like the past and we're seeing these massive shoots, the volume now is higher on Ethereum due to the network effect for obvious reasons. So XRP, it was mentioned obviously on that article just before, the obvious one in the room in terms of the next ETF, in my opinion. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. But yeah, interesting. This looks amazing on the chart, but realistically, the BTC pad still doesn't look great. It looks great, but I'm going to tell you something now. This is in a real interesting zone, right? Let's look at it. So when we zoom out a little bit, you can see that we were consolidating for quite a while in this region. We then died, we literally died, and then boom, we are breaking out of this structure. If this breaks out, look at the gaps that are potentially here for a bigger move, right? Volume comes in, off we go. Now, I've highlighted this level up here. That's only to the 236. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Let me just draw that again so you can actually see it in more detail because I think it's important to note. So if we're going to go from the previous high, I wouldn't say this is where it gets a bit sketchy with these type of time frames because it gets a bit mental. So if we're going to go from, say, wow, it depends where you want to go from, really. Now, that's from there. That's where it gets interesting because that's from that high there. What about if we go from this previous cycle top sort of region or whatever? But we've got to look at like the obvious prior high, which is technically here, let's be honest. That's where it really is. Are we going to go back up to 9,000 sats? That's where I think maybe. So if we're going to go to there, we've got a stopping point here at 6,000, give or take, because there's a lot of structure there, obviously. This 9,000 level, this to me will bring retail in because people will buy that for some reason. So yeah, you could look at that. 200% big move for obvious reasons. It'll make the value of XRP towards $10.